Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Capricorn for September 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new on my blog, and if you'd love to learn astrology, check out my Astrology Apprenticeship program. I am off sabbatical from taking live readings for the first time in a very long time. I don't know how long it will last, so if you've been interested in having a one-on-one session reading with me, then definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com to see more about that. So, what's going on in the month of September? We've got eclipse news still coming in, especially from that August eclipse. Sometimes a month after the eclipse, we can have important news come in, or at any time, there could be a continuation of any of the eclipse stories that have already been set into motion. We have Mercury clear, finally. We're out of the Mercury retrograde, even the post-shadow phase. Mars is finally direct, waking up, energizing everything again. And then we start a Venus retrograde shadow period. If you've been watching my readings for a while, you know I've been talking about this year as being a dominating personal planet retrograde story. So we continue here, but we do have a little bubbling up and opening in the first week of the month if you have to do some important things. We'll go into more details about that. But then on September 4th, the Venus pre-transit shadow period starts. And the deeper we get into September, the closer we get to that October 5th Venus retrograde. Venus rules love, beauty, and money, so you're definitely going to want to pay attention to this. Watch my Venus retrograde do's and don'ts video, please, because I go into so much detail that I'm not going to go into in these videos. Things you really need to know about love, beauty, and money from now into December, because that's the influence of this transit. So, we're going to talk about some things specific for Capricorn, and then I'll go into a very detailed discussion about these 10 beautiful aspects we have this month, the 5 challenging ones, when they are, and what you can expect. Okay, so I'm calling the theme of the month for Capricorn, ready to roar and rumble. Some of this is coming from, well, actually, most of this is coming from the fact that we have 2 beautiful configurations in the stars that are based in Capricorn outer planets. Okay, so Saturn is moving through your sign of Capricorn. This is a very big deal. Any planet moving through your sign is a very big deal. But when other planets come and join that aspect or that placement, it accentuates the story. So what we're talking about here, the first thing, is this Earth trine. So if you've listened to my August report, I was talking about this then, because the Earth trine between Saturn in Capricorn and Uranus and Taurus started in the middle of August and goes straight through solid until the middle of September. Then even after that, you'll feel it'll start waning, but it's solid for the first 2 weeks, and it's been solid since August. So Saturn, the energy of tradition, the energy of business, the energy of making your mark in this material world, is in configuration with Uranus, the bringer of innovation and surprises and quick developments, radical change. They're in a beautiful aspect. So Uranus is this unstable element, and Saturn is this stable element. So stability and instability are blended in the most harmonious aspect in all of astrology. So everybody has a chance to have beautiful energy from this. But if you are a Capricorn, you have even more potential. And if you have early placements, so like 0 to 7 or so degrees, if you're watching for your rising or your moon, and in like the first week of so basically like December born Cappies, with the like the first 7 days there. So basically December born Cappies. You are going to have this configuration happening on your sun or your moon or your rising sign. And that's going to bring wow, even more potential. So nobody's going to get skipped for having this potential. But if you have those early degree placements, this one is even more powerful for you. So then on September 7th, Mercury comes and makes a grand Earth trine. If you listen to August report, you will have heard something similar, because at the end of the month, the sun came and made a grand Earth trine with these 2 outer planets. So now Mercury is coming to do the same thing. So this is just more beautiful enhancement, material manifestation. That's what these Earth trines are about. They're material manifestation. So ideas, things worked on, things planned, things discussed, coming into magical fruition. So those of you who have birthdays that are like between the 13th and the 13th and 23rd day of the month. So basically like January 4th through the 14th, you all are going to have extra benefits from this second aspect, which is the Jupiter-Pluto trine. No, it's a sextile. Jupiter-Pluto sextile. So they're making a 60-degree angle. And this is happening on September 12th, but it's very strong from September 7th through September 13th. So you see here, like in that second week of the month, we've got super strong Jupiter-Pluto, super strong Earth trine. It's just pure magic, really. It's very exciting. So it's a lot of energy for movement and momentum, which we'll get into that theme later, but this is like one of the big stories that's going on here. So if you have placements between 13 and 23 degrees, especially the closer to 18 degrees, the more intense, this Pluto-Jupiter aspect will be even stronger for you. So this aspect brings great potentials for powerful partnerships to enhance what you're trying to do in the world. Esoteric principles, spiritual principles, work on the inner planes, enhancing what you do out in the world. That's what these themes are. So we have all of that going on. We also have a new moon at 17 degrees of Virgo. For those of you, again, with the same thing, like from like around the 5th through 5, around the same things as I talked about with the Jupiter placement. Or the Jupiter-Pluto placement, like between 14 and 5 degrees after, so 22 degrees, or like, you know, the 4th or 5th through around the 5th, 14th or 15th of January. All of you will have the new moon trining your placement. Okay, so if you have your birthday there, like between the 4th and 15th or so, then this new moon that's happening on September 9th can give you extra blessings. Okay, so again, that's between around, if it's 17 degrees, so it's like 12 degrees to 22 degrees, that's within a 5-degree orb of it, and the closer you are to 17 degrees, the more powerful. So let's talk about what that can bring for everybody, and just know that you in that grouping can have extra sweetness from it. The early degree placements will have this in the 9th house, and the middle and late degree placements will have this in the 8th house. So early degree placements, first 10 days of the sign, middle degree placements, middle 10 days of the sign, last late degree placements, last 10 degrees or days of the sign. So you first 10 days or so, you're going to have the new moon, new opportunities, new chapters happening for you in your 9th house. So this means new education opportunities, new teaching opportunities, chances to travel, especially long distance, different countries, different cultures, different languages, opportunities within doing spiritual work or churches, creative solutions to problems that were long-standing, anything having to do with writing, editing, publishing, speaking, or getting your work out into the world. Okay, so you middle to later degree placements, you're going to have this opening more in the house of the 8th house. When this has to do with, before I get into that, those things I just mentioned about the new moon for the early degree placements, there are other placements that can activate that sector for the rest of you Capricorns. So any of those things I listed could be active for any Capricorns. It just wouldn't be coming from the new moon. It would be coming from other placements moving through the 9th house. Okay, so back to the middle and late degree placements for this new moon in Virgo. New energy in getting like a loan, paying off debts, inheritances, money coming to you from some other place, winning a sweepstakes, a lottery, something like that. Spouse or family giving you money or helping you in some way. New spiritual or psychological breakthroughs, or anything having to do with esoteric studies or mysteries. Now again, even though this new moon energy is in that house for you middle or late degree placements, you all actually have energy in the 8th house. So all of these things I've discussed, even though I've kind of siphoned it down per new moon, all of these energies are very present for you all at this time. So any of those manifestations can happen for anyone. It would just be coming from a different reason in the chart. So then we have a full moon on the 24th, and that's at 2 degrees of Aries. If you have an early degree placement, like between 0 and 7 degrees. So like again, December born, this full moon could be a little bit more jarring for you or serve as a little more of a catalyst for you because it will be in a square to your Capricorn placement. Okay, so sometimes it can bring more drama or stress. But like I said, sometimes it can be the catalyst that helps you to push through and push out of an old matrix. So full moon, the 24th, 2 degrees of Aries, fruition, completion, manifestation, or drama in the sectors of the physical body for everybody. And I'll talk about that in the general report, some other general implications. But we'll look to see where that's going to be. So early degree placements will have that in the 3rd house. Middle degree placements, some of you will have that in the 3rd house. And the rest of you middle to late degree placements will have it in the 2nd house. So what happens with the full moon in the 3rd house? Fullness, completion, fruition, drama in the sectors of siblings or relatives. And this usually features like cousins, brothers, aunts, uncles, things like that. And not your parents or kids, those are in a different sector. Or something involving your phone, device, computer, or driving. So be extra careful driving around this full moon, especially for you early and most of you middle degree placements, because sometimes that drama can go to your car sector, and it could increase the chance of something going on there that would be unpleasant. But I guess there's equal of a chance for it to be something that's pleasant, like a manifestation of a car or a device or something like that. Now just have special caution that if you need to buy one of those things, try to do that in the earlier part of the month, like the first week. It's possible that you didn't know you would need a new one, and by the end of the month something happens and then you have to get one. But if you think it's pending or something like that, then try to do it at the beginning of the month when you're further away from the Venus retrograde. Because Venus rules luxury items and expensive things, and usually cars and phones are expensive. Even if they're not luxury versions of them, they're usually expensive. So it's a big expenditure, and you want to protect it from Venus retrograde, which has its whole set of rules for purchases, and especially of expensive items, which I go into in my Venus retrograde. You definitely have to listen to my Venus retrograde video because there's so much you need to know about this, and I cannot go through all of it here. Okay, so look up Annie Botticelli or just Annie Venus retrograde and we'll pull it up. Okay, so for the rest of you, okay, so we said the early and some middle degree placements will have it in the 3rd, the rest of you will have it in the 2nd. That is fullness, fruition, drama, completion happening in your 2nd house of finances. So that could be money coming in that you've been expecting, it could be money coming in that you weren't expecting, it could be a new opportunity to make money, or it could have something to do with, drama or challenge around a luxury item, like damage occurring to a luxury item or something, just be careful of things getting stolen or something happening. Just make sure you have really good insurance and protection on your expensive items. But this could just turn out to just bring you in some money, but it could also turn out to cost you some money. So if you have extra money at the beginning of the month, it's really a good idea to put it away, and that's for a bunch of different reasons. Because once Venus goes in retrograde, although money can come in from the past and people can have very prosperous Venus retrograde, I've seen this happen. However, if there's unresolved money issues, sometimes Venus can slow things down, and if there's an expense that's pending that you know about or you don't know about and you have some extra money, it would make sense for you to put it away so that you have it for when those things come up. So those are the things that are most on my mind for Capricorn for this month. Now I want to talk about these 10 amazing transits in more detail, and ones that I haven't mentioned yet, when they're going to happen, what you can expect from them, and also the challenging ones and certain things that you really need to know to keep yourself safe, and when there are some dicey things to look out for. So the theme of the month for all signs for September 2018 is major movement and momentum. We've been waiting for a long time for Mars to wake up from its slumber from retrograde. Most people will have been affected from the Mars retrograde as feeling lazy, unambitious, trying to do things that aren't working out, getting super frustrated. And so for those people, things are going to change now. And either it's going to be like a light switches on and your energy levels, your enthusiasm, your ambitions just wake up, or it will be like a slow, tingling awakening of coming back to life of your ambitions, your goals, and your motivations to reach goals, and to do anything really. For the percentage of you, the smaller percentage of you who experience Mars retrograde with the opposite, in many cases, people who have Mars retrograde at birth will experience the opposite. So for them, Mars retrograde is their most productive time. So every 2 years, they have a cycle of, 4 or so months where they wake up, they get all this stuff done. So for y'all, you're going to be going back to sleep, but maybe you will have learned some lessons about how to best use your energy and bring some of that productivity into your daily experience afterwards, after the transit. So we have Mercury retrograde pretty much clear now at the beginning of the month. We have Mars just starting to wake up, taking until October 10th to regain full strength. And we have Venus getting ready to go into retrograde. So that's not going to happen until October 5th. But the shadow period starts September 4th. And the shadow period is just as important to note as the retrograde. Occasionally I'll have someone ask, why are you talking about this when it's not happening yet? And my very simple, very powerful, very accurate answer is, it is actually happening. And that's why I have to talk about it. Not everybody wants to deal with this. Most people don't want to mention it and just wait until it's actually retrograde. But you are going to be having these things come up that are true to the transit well before the transit occurs. And that's one of my overriding messages I hope that you see from the work that I'm doing, is to let you be aware that things are not happening just when they, quote, happen. There's an orb of energy before and after aspects where we're feeling them. It's kind of like when you're driving out west from the east. I do this trip across the country back and forth very often. And I always notice, right, when the eastern kind of trees and density of population start to dissipate, you start to see some, desert plants come in, and you start to see more of a sparsity of trees and a change in the kind of trees. And then you might see some mountains in the distance, and you feel the dry air. And so the desert has come to you, but you're still kind of in the space where it's not quite there yet. But you feel it, and it's happening, and it's relevant, and you're having manifestations from it, but you're not quite in the desert yet. Okay, that's how this shadow period is. It starts to smell like this, the stories that are going to come up, the typical feelings, emotions, topics start coming in. And what are those topics? They have to do with love, beauty, and money. So everybody wants to know about Venus retrograde because these are the big things that people talk about. I have done a very comprehensive job on trying to prepare you for Venus retrogrades. I have a video called Venus Retrograde Do's and Don'ts. I highly recommend that you watch this video because I am not going to do Venus retrograde justice in this video, or even in the months that in October and November when Venus is actually retrograde. We'll be talking about this between now and December. But there's nothing that I have and nothing that I know of available, even on the internet, that is as comprehensive as this video that I've made for you about Venus retrograde. So you definitely want to search for Annie Venus retrograde. I go into so much detail, and you will be very educated about this transit and understand how to best use it. Okay, but in any case, the basic things that go on are, you are not seeing clearly in love, beauty, and money. Not the best time for doing any augmentation to your body, tattoos, implants, adjustments, procedures. Venus retrograde energy is not the best for that. Making big decisions in love, you're not seeing clearly. It's best to evaluate things and work in the backdrop. Money decisions, not the best time to make big money decisions in general. And things from the past that are issues will likely come back up, for better and worse. But blessings from the past can also come back. So let's say you're a person who teaches a certain class, and you have to, it's the time to cycle to enroll for this class again. That's okay, because it's a class you've been teaching. And in that case, people from the past may come and you might have a very prosperous showing in your class. But this is something you've been doing. It's not brand new. It's not a new launch. It's kind of just leaning towards the past involving money. Okay, so those things tend to do really well. Going back to old clients, previous business ideas, working on them more, anything that's worked for you in the past, doing those things again versus new things are going to be the tagline of September through half of December. Anything involving love, You may have love that comes back from the past, okay? So yes, issues can come up and will come up from the past. If you have something unresolved in your love life, it's very likely that Venus is going to bring that up in a big way. But you can also have beautiful things from the past. Like let's say you've been with your partner a long time and you had traditions and things that you did that were awesome and you loved them and you missed them. Venus retrograde can bring them back into your life. It can bring the spark back into your love. For people who are separated from their love, if for any reason, maybe it's a military situation where somebody's abroad working, or any other international work, or even local work. If you have a partner who travels for work or who has been away, Venus retrograde can bring them back and you can see them, So it's very beautiful, and there are many, many wonderful things that can come in. It's just important to remember, not the best time for launches, doing new things, making big moves, making big decisions, if you can help it, because you're not seeing clearly and you don't have the gusto of Venus going direct. It's leaning towards the past. Okay, now it can also bring love back into your life from the past. So somebody that you dated in the past, or a love interest, or someone who you were interested in the past could come back in. And in those cases, it's open for evaluation. Just try to not make any big decisions from what you're evaluating. Okay, so besides Venus retrograde and talking about all this retrograde stuff, we've got a massive amount of this beautiful energy of positive aspects, especially with outer planets. And I've gone into detail about those in the individual reports. But I want to just re-mention this, that for the first half of September, we are locked in this trine with Saturn and Capricorn and Uranus and Taurus. This can bring major manifestation, major things coming from the ethers into form and grounding and material support in wonderful ways. We also have a beautiful aspect with Jupiter and Pluto. This is a sextile between Pluto and Jupiter, and it's occurring in, for an extended period of time again, from like the 7th through the 13th, we can feel this really strongly. So beautiful blessings, especially near 18 degrees. That Earth trine, any Earth or water placements that you have near 2 degrees will be further enhanced. For the Jupiter-Pluto aspect, water and Earth aspects or planets that you have near 18 degrees will be further enhanced. And I usually go 5 degrees in any direction. So, 13 degrees through 23 degrees for the Jupiter-Pluto aspect, and then like 0 to 7 degrees for the Earth aspect. So if you have Earth or water placements in any of those configurations, then this could be an amazing time for you. And even if you don't, you're the ones that just get the extra blessing. Everybody has the chance to benefit from these beautiful aspects. So it's super exciting. Overall, this month, we've got about 10 awesome, amazing, harmonious expressions. The dates that those occur, so let's see, I'm going to start to give you some dates here, but I want to give you a couple of caveats. One thing to know is that we can sometimes and very often feel the manifestations of a planetary configuration before or after. So I'll give you the dates, but you can feel them before or after, okay? That's the first thing to know. The second thing to know is that if you want a detailed play-by-play of what aspect is occurring on what day and what you can expect from it, then sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. At anniehelpsyou.com, you can get this free newsletter. I do a write-up that does a summary of the month, what you can expect, important details, and lots of additional details that I can't get into in the videos where we talk about what is happening on what day and what you can expect. Okay, but I am going to hit some of the highlights here. So these are the days to look out for sweet vibes, okay? But remember, you can feel them before or after these days. So the 3rd, the 6th, the 7th, the 9th, the 11th, the 12th, the 15th, the 16th, the 20th, the 23rd, and the 24th, and the 27th. Look out for stress, challenges, and overstimulation in the days around September 7th, 8th, 12th, 13th, 18th, 20th, 23rd, and 24th. So now I'm going to just hit a couple of the highlights here. I'm not going to go into all of them. You have to see the written report for that. But we've got some sweetness at the beginning of the month with a beautiful aspect with Venus and Mercury. I love this for all things. September 3rd is an amazing day for pretty much anything, okay? And this is because The Mercury shadow period, post-shadow period has passed. Mars has been direct for a little bit, is regaining steam, and Venus shadow period has not begun yet. So September 3rd, if you've got to do something important, I love September 3rd for this. I also love the days around it because they're mostly amazing aspects. But there is one aspect within that first week, actually 2 aspects, like in the first 7-8 days on September 7th and 8th to look out for. But those days up, really the first week is just amazing for anything. So if you have to do anything important in love and beauty and money, like if you want to do your, any kind of physical things, aesthetics to your house, design projects, not on your body, but in your home, in your office, art projects, things bringing anything artistic out, anything really. This first week of September is the week that has the best open energy, free from the retrogrades, that we've had for a long time and that we're going to have for a long time. You're not going to get a freedom from the retrograde energies like this week until mid-December. Okay, so if you've got to do something important, if you have a launch that can't wait until December, you've got to bring something out, do it in this first week. This is amazing energy. Okay, we've got Mercury and Venus in a beautiful aspect. Saturn going direct can bring manifestations out into the world. We've got this trine with Saturn and Uranus. The Earth trine that's been in effect since the middle of August will still be in effect through the middle of September. It's in this exact configuration for a month. And then on September 7th, Mercury comes in and makes that trine with Uranus and Saturn a grand Earth trine. So everyone has the potential to be blessed from these transits and do stuff with them, but especially people with anywhere from 0 to 7 degrees of earth or water placements in your chart. Placements in your chart can go well beyond your sun sign, so here, those of you who have some working knowledge of your chart, this is going to benefit you to know this, okay? If you've got anything near 2 degrees in earth and water, this is going to energize whatever placements you have there and be even bigger and bring things to you in a bigger way. As I talk about bringing things to you in a bigger way, do note, I get this question very often. It goes something like this: Annie, and sometimes it's nicely worded and sometimes it's not nicely worded. And gosh, I wish they would all be nicely worded. But in any case, different versions of this. I'm not having the benefits that you or other astrologers are talking about as potentials from the stars, okay? So why? Why are they not having that? The reason is because if you are not a vibrational match for the things that are present as potentials, then you're not going to experience them, period. That is a law of the universe. Astrology can't get around that. Nothing can get around that. If you have a story, a program, a vibration inside of you, doesn't have to be conscious, can be unconscious, can be ancestral, can be genetic, can be whatever. If you have a storyline that's in your energy field that is different from the one that this beautiful aspect wants to create for you, you're not going to have it created for you. And that doesn't mean that the astrologer is wrong, and it doesn't mean that astrology is wrong. It means that you're not a vibrational match for the potentials that are sitting here. It's like I always say, if you have the ingredients to make a juicy peach pie on your counter, and you come out looking for the peach pie, and you're like, where's the peach pie? Someone's going to ask you, did you make the peach pie with the ingredients on the counter, or are they still there as ingredients? So this is your call from the universe to take an active role in your destiny. And if you see that there are inconsistencies with the potentials that are sitting before you, that you feel, that you see, that you hear about, and they're not manifesting, you have to look inside. Some tools I love for working inside: EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. This is a form of meridian clearing that clears your energy field, clears belief systems. You can find things totally free online. You don't have to have any money. You can be in the worst situation in your life and not be able to put any resources into this and still access it, okay? So look up EFT. I love the Presence Process by Michael Brown, one of my favorite tools. I love the Marriage of Spirit, the exercises in Section 2 by Leslie Temple Thurston. These things are just like blockbuster self-development tools that can help you to be a vibrational match for the things that you want and these beautiful potentials that we're sitting here in front of. Okay, so now that I've said my piece about that, so once we get out of this first 7 days, and even at the end of the 7 days, we've got the Sun opposing Neptune, okay? This is our first aspect that's a little bit, iffy. It brings this question of confusion, unclarity, miscommunication, deception, security breaches. So if you're feeling insecure or weird, regardless of all these potentials around, you have to honor that. We never know when we're going to have a pocket of a manifestation from a challenging aspect, even dancing in between all these beautiful aspects. Okay, so, feel your way through it. On September 8th, we've got a clash with Venus and Mars. That's going to bring some challenges and stress. On September 9th, we've got this beautiful new moon with two beautiful outer planet aspects that are positive affecting it. But we also have Neptune giving this same kind of message. Guard your personal data and possessions. If things are seem too good to be true, they may be. Anything that you're not certain about or you're confused about, you need to take more time around. But in general, this new moon at 17 degrees of Virgo is awesome. We've got beautiful positive boosts by Pluto and Jupiter, and it's time to make your new moon wishes on anything involving Virgo. So health, diet, healing work, whether you're doing the work or receiving the work or would like to be doing the work, medical tests, exams, or procedures, anything with animals or pets or workplace issues or goals. September 11th and 12th, we've got another set of amazing aspects. Enhanced discernment, positive outcomes from having an analytical eye. So you can see this chance for confusion and uncertainty is present at the same time as these enhanced mental powers are present. So you might feel that at one point on one day, and then someone else might feel it. These are rolling energies. It's kind of like, what it's like when you're in the water, right? Let's say you're in the ocean and there's like a pocket of cold water, right? You're like, oh, cold. How did that happen? I just wandered into a pocket of cold water, but your knee, the bottom of your leg is in this warmer pocket, right? So that's happening. And then you're like, oh, better go over there into the warm pocket, right? So that's what these transits are like. They're happening at the same time. They're influencing. Their chance to manifest is occurring simultaneously. So you need to use your intuition to feel out I'm feeling good today. And I know these aspects are good and I'm feeling them. So I'm going to do important things. But then if you're like, well, everyone's saying this is really good, but I feel like crap and I don't feel sure, then don't do anything. You've got to wait and follow your personal flow. Astrology is nothing unless it is helping you to enhance your own connection to yourself and to spirit and to the all that is. All right, so then we start getting a little dicey here in the middle of the month. September 12th, 13th, we've got a little rough patch. This can bring surprises in money and love. This can bring unpleasant jolts, or this can just bring overstimulation. Maybe money stuff is going great. It's going to bring up the polarity of me and we. So you versus other people close to you, entities that you're working with. But while this is all going on, we do have that beautiful Jupiter-Pluto aspect that can supersede and bring protection and benevolence even through these challenges. All right, so that September 13th, you got to look out again. If you're not sure about things, deception, uncertainty, security breaches can be more likely. Then on the 15th and the 16th, we've got more sweetness. There's at least 10 beautiful aspects this month and close to half of that of challenging ones. Okay, so even though there are some things to look out for, there's definitely more awesomeness than there are stress factors. Also towards the second week of the month is a big time for that eclipse, for more eclipse news to come in when we're a month after the August 11th eclipse, so around September 11th. That sometimes is a time when major eclipse news or continuation of a story that's already started can come up. So Mercury doing awesome things on the 15th and 16th. But at the same time, Mars and Uranus are going to make a bad aspect. Yes, I'm calling it bad. Yes, you can use it for good. Squares can always be encouragers to do something, to break through something. So in that way, it could be good. But Mars and Uranus getting together in a challenging situation, these are one of the aspects that I put a red flag up for, okay? If you've watched me for a while, or maybe you can tell already, I'm super positive. I have a very optimistic viewpoint. The art of astrology, there's a science of astrology, okay? But there's an art of astrology. It's in the eye of the beholder, the reader. So I look at everything like, how are we going to make this awesome? But at the same time, if there's something dicey, I will tell you. Okay, and this is one of those things. September 18th, watch out for your body. Watch out for pissing people off. Do not antagonize a crazy person. Do not antagonize anybody. Go easy on exercise. Go easy on important conversations. Try to not plan anything important, especially with somebody that pushes your buttons. And if you can avoid people that push your buttons around this time, that would be better. I've seen Mars aspects sometimes show up as soon as 5 days before, and quite a few days after. So remember that about these aspects. You can feel them before or after. And this is occurring at the same time that a lot of sweetness is occurring. So you've got to just, remember what I said about being in the water in the warm and cold patches. You have to, when you're in a really warm, comfy patch, then do some stuff. If it's a little bit dicey, then maybe hold off. And since Venus is going into retrograde and it's getting closer to the shadow period, by this time, your discernment might be off a little bit. It might make more sense to wait before you do something important. September 20th can be great for enhancing mental powers, but it can also bring a lot of criticism. So the 20th, the 21st, and the 23rd, we've got some challenging aspects, 2 of them with Mercury. Okay, so these are energies that can bring up old wounds. These can bring news about a physical malady. It can be something, negativity or criticism could come to you now. It could be anything having to do with like somebody, a force coming in, not being nice, just basically general negativity and criticism. But then on the 23rd, we've got this little boost with Mercury and Mars. So this brings the opportunity for amazing conversations and amazing social contacts, and can bring great mental power. The full moon at 2 degrees of Aries on September 24th is boosted with sweetness by a trine with Jupiter and a sextile with Mars. At the same time, it can have additional intensity from a square with Saturn and then a Chiron conjunction. So whenever Saturn is involved, usually criticism or pressure is involved. Okay, and then whenever Chiron's involved, especially in a challenging aspect, it can bring this victim tyrant mentality or polarity. Okay, so you could feel like somebody is doing something to you, or someone could be accusing you of being a bully or a tyrant, which you may or may not be, but this topic is what's brought up. So fullness, completion, fruition, drama can come to anything in the area of Aries, especially your physical body, especially the head or brain, or anything having to do with your circulation or your neurological system. It can have something to do with fruition about recognition, so coming out into the light, your image, your individuality, pioneering efforts, daring goals, anything that has to do with Aries. We end off the month, September 27th, with a beautiful aspect with the Sun and Mars. So this is great for confidence and enthusiasm. Do remember that even though it can bring positive use of assertiveness and great for attracting or expressing positive masculine traits or energies, we're getting super close to Venus retrograde now. Okay, so just be really careful with the decisions you make and don't let your enthusiasm make you take on something too soon. All right, this is like this process of following retrogrades is like watching the ripening of fruit. It makes me think I have a grapevine, and you feel the grapes, right? And they're edible. You get to where they're edible and you might be excited to eat them. But if you wait like 1 or 2 more sunny days, that grape is going to be bursting with so much extra sweetness and juiciness. That is what I want you to hold with you for this energy of the retrogrades. And you'll hear me mentioning this a lot because I really want to get it imprinted into you to associate the retrogrades with this. If you're excited to bring something out, but things aren't quite working out and you're not completely sure, maybe it's better to work on it in the backdrop until December. Mid-December, the end of December is going to be an amazing time in the cosmos. So many wonderful things going on and beautiful energy around bringing things out into the world. So just kind of tune in and make sure that the things that you were thinking about doing are really ready to be plucked off of the vine. So if you are interested in learning astrology, I would love to see you in my astrology apprenticeship program. I don't know for how long, but I will be off sabbatical. I have been on a long sabbatical of not taking individual clients for live readings, but I have some openings now. So if you've been wanting to work with me, then you have your chance. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com. You can sign up for my free email newsletter there, get your monthly write-ups, get all kinds of other goodies. And you can see more about working with me in various capacities on my website. If you'd like a written horoscope from me, then go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. And you'll also see my lifestyle blogs there. If you're a traveler, go to Astrology Kissed Travel Bliss. That is where I write my monthly astrology travel reports. So astrology reports just for the traveler, extra things that we might not talk about in the general report or the sign reports. And definitely check out my husband's website, IamHelios.com. My husband, B.R. Newman, is an amazing phenom of creativity. He's amazing with tarot. He teaches tarot. If you've wanted to learn tarot, definitely check out his tarot course. And he puts together these vibrational masterpieces to help you attune to the stars and to bring the positive aspects out of expression and to work with the challenging ones. So check out his database of audio assistance at IamHelios.com. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.